morning, shaving cadre. Barber Dave here with Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home. Welcome to day 5 of the Barbershop Challenge, as well as the final day of the Occam Vector Challenge. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different called an audible, because I've been using the Occam for 3 or 4 days straight. And so I'm going to finish this up with the Vector, and we'll see what we end up with. Today we're going to be heading to the corner of Germain Street and Blenheim Street, and we're going to stop at one of the oldest perfumers in London, and that's Penhaligon's. We are going to be using their Bayalea, and of course we'll use their Bayalea aftershave and the Bayalea EDT. Our brush today will be our Sorrentino Brushworks Corleone in Fire Opal, and I can't remember the name of the gray synthetic knot, but it's nice. I think it's an AP shave. I don't know. So I hope everybody's doing well. We're going to do some other stuff because I've had some pretty good positive response on on these shootouts. So we're going to do another one after we're done with the barbershop shootout, but it won't really be a shootout. It'll be more of a tour, and I'll go into that at the end. So the Bayalea soap, unlike the English fern that was in the crap show suit, is pretty good actually. It's not too shabby as far as lathering. However, it's still a British soap, so most of the time they can be a little bit foamier than most. And Bayalea, some people were asking me, why is Bayalea being included in the barbershop shootout? And the reason for that is that it's one of the more modern Penhaligon scents, but it is touted as a modern take on barbershop, and it is very lavender forward, and I can see where they get their barbershop roots from, because William Penhaligon was actually a barber in London, and at the time, the shaving products and the fragrance products were not what they were up to snuff, so he had a barbershop. The original Penhaligon's was a barbershop, still there to this day, and then got into perfuming. I don't believe that the barbershop version is still working. I don't know that for sure, but them, Creed, True Fit and Hill, those are all kind of the originals down there, D.R. Harris. And it's neat. If you ever get to London, you definitely have to visit. But leave your wallet at the hotel. Don't leave it at the hotel. It is what the CEC uses for brand new operative training. We drop our new operatives and Jedis in training in the middle of Piccadilly Circus on a Saturday afternoon with no map, and so they have to use their reconnoitering skills to find these places and learn the fine art of enablement. So as I said, it's a pretty good soap. It lathers pretty well. I mean, you have to be real careful with the water ratio, but very lavender forward. I mean, not as lavender forward as the Holy Black, but as you can see, this is a whole bunch different than the non-tallow version of English fern. And this is not a tallow soap, so they did pretty good with this one. Excitedly waiting. Hopefully today or tomorrow I'll be getting my official TSC shaving shirt. And what I've noticed is I've been using my squadron shirt as my shaving shirt for the last 5 days. And we all know that when you run low on soap, that you put it into a tub and call it clown puke. Well, believe it or not, the shave shirt is going to be the perfect accoutrement for the clown puke, because it collects the soap that has been flung. It also collects any of the aftershave particles that have misted into the air, as well as any of the fragrance particles. So you get a quite unique mixture of fragrances on the shirt. Very clean smelling. I mean, it's not dirty, but as KJ put it, the patinaing is very nice. So as you can see, the The Bayleigh soap's not bad. I mean, it really isn't. For an English hard soap, especially non-tallow, it a little bit on the drier side, and you don't want to wet it too much because it'll break. But it's not not bad, not bad at all. It's not thin. It's nice and thick, and so forth. So now, as far as the Vector versus the Occam, I'll reserve judgment for the end. But today we're going to do the Vector, and after doing the Occam, for so many days, this it's like, now it's like stepping out of a pickup into a Ferrari. Frankly, it's just so intuitive, so easy to hold. You know, 2 fingers, 3 fingers tops. It balances itself. If there was such thing as an automatic razor, this would be it. Now, I've been mentioning in my journal that we pretty much know how this is going to end, but let's talk about some justifications for that. Is the Occam a good razor? Yes. Is the Orin better? Apparently so. Apparently it is a better design on the Occam, because the Occam was the original. But first pass, no miss of anything. In fact, I could get away with one pass and have a decent shave. Obviously, I won't do that. That's crazy. But the Occam, the biggest stumbling point for me was the size of the head. I think Rich called it Bullwinkle, and that's a very apt name for it. I, like him, got it on sale for a very big discount, so it was worth it. Will it stay in the den? Sure. Will I use it? Yeah. Because it's black DLC, so I'm happy about that. And this may be unpopular to some, but the floating blade, I never saw any benefit to that. The ease of loading at first I thought was really cool, but then I thought about it, and once you get to know the Vector, it's easy to load. I mean, you just got to get used to it, and you got to be careful with the blade handling. But the little holder that comes with the Occam is sometimes just more gainly to use. Put the blade in the thing, push the blade in. And with the Feather Pro Guards, and probably my biggest complaint, is you're getting blade shatter and rattling right out of the gate. So you have to take the blade out, bend it, so it doesn't rattle. Okay. Now that may be because of the Occam's first generation, but still, a finished razor should come to the market finished. And I know Occam was a Kickstarter project, but still. The Vector is just balanced better, in my opinion. Just like I said, it's like taking a Ferrari around a racetrack and then trying to take a Chevy pickup along that same racetrack. When you enter the corners, you're going to sway. Where with this, you know that it's going to be glued to the road. I made the comparison in my journal and video yesterday. And I'm sorry, this is an Air Force comparison, obviously, and a pilot's comparison. Being a pilot myself, the Vector is like the F-22 Raptor. If you don't know what the F-22 Raptor is, it's the most advanced fighter that the Air Force has ever made, and it was the only fighter that has ever been able to unseat the F-15 Eagle. But as far as speed is concerned, the F-15 Eagle can still climb and accelerate, and that's the only fighter that can do that, climbing straight up and accelerating. The F-15 is still my favorite, but the F-22 is cool because the F-22 is nearly impossible to see from a stealth standpoint. Secondly, it has what they call thrust vectoring, which means that the angle of attack on the F-22 can change. So if the plane's flying at you this way, it doesn't have to turn to hit you. It can it can vector its thrusters to actually keep going straight and turn, or keep going straight and up or down. Well, the vector is aptly named because you can get any angle on your face, and even though it's a rigid blade, you ain't gonna miss anything. And it's fast, very fast, and it can just skate around like nothing. So that's kind of the comparison there. Whereas the next in line, as far as, you know, what I think are the best feather style razors, is the Asylum. Now the Asylum to me is like an F4 Phantom. The F4 was one of the most advanced fighters back during the Vietnam era. Although they took the guns off of it, and we won't go into that. You can see Top Gun and see that. But it's fast, it's ungainly, it's smoky, it belches. It had a nickname of Spooky 2 because it was used as the RF4 for reconnaissance, and it was so fast it could get in and out, flip its pictures, and hence the name Spooky 2. And it was used by all services, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and the Air Force, with different configurations. So the RX, like I said, big, heavy, beastie, but still nimble, but not quite as nimble as the Vector. Then we move to the Occam, and I can pretty much call this right now, even though I'm not even finished with the shave. And I tried to be as non-biased as possible, but and if those of you saw my picture, I actually called it last night. Yeah, the Vector is still king, and will remain that way, I'm sure, because it's a razor. The Occam I won't find myself grabbing for, but I can tell you right now, the Vector I always grab for. I mean, it sits right here. So, but the Occam will take its place in my storage, and I'll use it. So then we continue our Air Force and our airplane comparison to the Occam. The Occam, I wouldn't even classify as a fighter. I would classify it as an attack aircraft. So to me, the Occam is the A-10. Big, ungainly. It was not even supposed to physically fly from a physics standpoint, but it flies well, it flies slow, and it will destroy everything with that big old Vulcan cannon on the front that, you know, you get a burr. And for what I did in the Air Force, it was our lifesaver. Back in Vietnam, they had the Sandys, which were usually P-47s and F-4s. They came in, and any pararescuemen that were behind enemy lines could count on them. They called them the Sandys. The A-10s were our Sandys, because when you heard that plane coming in with that Pratt or that General Electric whine from those engines, and it swooped down, and you hear that, you knew you were okay. And so that's kind of the comparison. But yeah, I will post the comparison like I did with the soaps, probably sometime tonight. But yeah, DSBBS, very little cleanup. If you haven't tried the Vector, getting a pass around, or if you're like me, just buy it. It's an incredible razor, and to me, the benchmark for shave is longevity as well. And what I found with the Occam, aside from missing different parts of my face and finally getting it, because yesterday's shave was fantastic with it, that by 5 o'clock or so, I'm starting to feel some stubble, which with the Vector, I don't, which means that I compare shaves with the feather style system to a straight razor. And to me, as I've said before, you do not get the longevity of a shave, a length of longevity that you do with a straight razor. It's just never going to happen. However, the Vector is very, very close, very close. In fact, there's been times when I've shaved with the Vector like a straight razor, and I get up the next morning to shave, and I do it, you know, more for just shaving rather than really needing to. So in that respect, yeah, the Vector for me wins wins outright. The soap, like I said, the Penhaligon's Bailea soap is great. You know, and most, like I said, English Fern's the only one they missed the mark on. All the other ones, including Sartorial and Todd, I did find it, so I'll be able to send you a chunk here pretty soon. There's like a massive mailing that's going to be going out this next week, so I'll get everybody's stuff out, including the bingo prizes and all this other stuff that we're doing. But you know, Bailea is nice. Is it a true barbershop scent? In my definition, no. But in the European tradition, yeah. I mean, it's very lavender forward. The aftershave is nice, high alcohol content, but it's Bailea is probably one of the most unique scents. Now, typical to Penhaligons, it can kind of fade pretty quick, but you get hints of it throughout the day. I am excited today because I'm going to use a new talc, and this is rosemary and mint, and this is from Peraso. Now, this is a 600 milligram or 600 gram container, and it's big, it's heavy, and the rosemary and mint is very, very nice. And what I do with this one is I'll pour some out and just leave it in the cap instead of going right into the brush, so you can see that there, and then I'll just swirl the brush on top of that. I found that that's the easiest way to do it, and then you're not getting too much. And the rosemary, very rosemary forward, but then you feel what feels like medicinal, but it's not. It's actually the mint. And I'll dial this in, but it's very soft feeling, and made by Peraso, and you can find the rosemary and mint, and it comes in 100 gram bags, which is nice, but very good feeling on the face. Not quite as luxurious as the English Fern, but it's much cheaper, and it's got a huge tub, and you just shake it out from right there, so it's actually kind of nice. Very nice. Okay, we'll finish up with the Bailea Eau de Toilette, EDT. And again, this can be a little bit light, so you know, don't be afraid to Vasili the what out of it. And for those of new guys that don't know what the Vasili, you'll see on some of our stuff where we say 1 to 2, 3 feet, 3 Vasilis, and that's a reference to The Hunt for Red October, where Sean Connery is talking to Sam Neill, and he goes, the USS Dallas is right next to him, and he's worried that the USS Dallas has got a cowboy for a captain, and they're pinging their sonar. And he goes, Sean Connery looks and says, "One ping only, Vasili." So that's where that comes from. One squirt, one ping. So kind of goofy, stupid stuff, but it's been around for a while, since the old days. Okay, great shave. We're on day 5. 5 or 6 more days to go with the barbershop scents. Tomorrow we're going to head to Spain, and we're going to be back to straight shaving, so that'll be fun. So fantastic stuff. Definitely a contender, but probably not for the American scents, more for the, and I may split that up. So what we're going to do after the barbershop scents is we're going to do not a shootout, but we're going to actually do a tour. Haven't named it yet, but it's going to be all Saponicchio Veracino. We're going to start from the very beginning, and we're going to use every single soap, every single aftershave, and every single EDT, or EDP rather, that they have, to give some people some comparisons on what they should buy and what they shouldn't buy. I'm going to include the scent notes down here somewhere, so you'll have that. And then the pros and cons of some of the scents, and how to get the most out of Saponicchio Veracino. So hopefully that'll be fun, and that'll be, a week down the road or so. So, Shave Cadre, thanks again for being members of the Shaving Cadre. Chad, Chris, and I appreciate your support every single day. We know that times are tough right now, emotions are charged, and we appreciate your gentlemanly actions on the forum. You have no idea how good that is, and that's why we remain a self-policing forum. If you have not been there before, check us out at www.theshavingcadre.com. I'm Barber Dave at Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.